Welcome back here to Team Friday here on OCR FM and also streaming live on maxblakemedia.com. And joining us on the line now, he's official Colac royalty. We're going to knight him as the Mayor of Colac this weekend. Tim Pekin, the coach of the victorious CDFL side last week. Good afternoon, Tim. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks.
Well, the Mayor of Colac, does that sit well with you?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I remember my father went to a meeting there the other night about something or other.
Well, we see when Geelong win a premiership, they they get the mayor. One of the players gets to be mayor of the day and all that sort of stuff. So
I do remember when Cameron Ling was mayor for the day. I think he really enjoyed himself.
Yeah, I think
right.
He cut rates and free parking and everything. So.
That's right, sounding better already, Max, I accept.
Mate, it was a fantastic effort on Saturday against the Warrnambool District Football League. Great win. I guess it was a low-scoring game, but how did you see the game as the coach, mate?
Well, see, I was a bit puzzled myself about the low scores. I thought we had enough, goal kickers in the side, and I certainly knew they did because the fella at full forward was, kicked 10 and 11 the previous 2 weeks. Yeah. The fella Bant, and I thought, oh wow, this is, by half time, I think it was maybe only 3, maybe 4 goals around there, and I thought, low scoring. It just meant it was a tough game. I might have said in one of the papers that both defensive sixes were good against the forward, so, I guess it would come down to how the midfielders went. So, in the last quarter, O'Keefe was a midfielder for them and coach, and he kicked a pretty good goal. And Keane was a midfielder, I think the ruckman at the time, he kicked a goal. So, the backs on either side did a great job. I thought ours, certainly Murray and Saligan, and plus obviously Harris was actually good. I hadn't mentioned him, but he was sort of like a general in the back, and at times I thought he might have got a bit lost, but he knew what he was doing. He's been around a fair while, so him and Phillips actually. When I put Phillips went in the middle there at a couple of stages, and his voice and direction is great as well. So
you didn't go in with a defensive mindset. Do you reckon you went in with a bit of an attacking sort of a game style?
Yeah, well, I thought that. What we thought that what we thought we'd be good at would be the run and carry and our quick movement.
Yep.
So it certainly wasn't a defensive mindset. But in a sense, you coaching sides or a team that have you put together, hopefully, that can be reasonably cohesive and attacking. And I thought it was in a sense, but both, as I said, both sides had good backmen. It's pretty hard to get away.
How did you find the training aspect of it all, Tim? And putting the side together, I guess, would have been pretty tough as well, but trying to gel them up at training. I did hear the last training session was pretty intense. You tried to get them into a game plan and all that sort of stuff, but how did you find gelling the side?
Oh, look, I thought there'd probably be a couple of things I'd do different if I was to do it again, but I thought it was mainly up to the players. The ones who came and really wanted to be involved.
Yep.
Were the ones who basically got the cohesion training going and lots of yap. And Phillips and Harris were probably those instigators with Mick Davis, and even Calcedo was the same, where they were quite talkative and got everybody G'd up and weren't shy about things, which is what you need.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But otherwise, I think, perhaps another time you might actually go out for tea or do something a little bit different, have a go bowls, I don't know, just to relax and get to know each other. But, you learn as you go.
Well, you're a bit disappointed with maybe some of the players that you've picked, I guess sparing injuries, but some had other commitments as well. It would have been pretty tough grabbing up some of the players from Geelong and the Melbourne way. I know Sean Calcedo was a big player for you guys on the weekend, but he travelled from Melbourne. Would there maybe be in the future maybe a training camp in Geelong or something like that next year?
Well, I think I wasn't disappointed because we got the players, who represented the league well.
Yep.
It was more in your head. You'd had this side that you'd put together that didn't turn out like that.
Yep.
Which, with as you say, with injuries and and other commitments, is fine. Perhaps next time you take a bigger squad.
Yep.
Just so that you've got a few more things covered, and give the players an opportunity to say, look, I'm not really interested, or we can make that and that, or maybe the Sunday might be different because we're down that time, we're down on the Saturday, rather than having to come down again on a Wednesday. So, I imagine things will be different next year, and hopefully that encourages the players who didn't play this year to get themselves up and running for next year's game.
Will you be around next year, Tim? You're going to go on for another year?
Oh, I don't know, Max.
Haven't got the phone call yet to say, yep, you've won the award again. Mayor of Colac this weekend couldn't get a gig next year. That'd be very, very harsh, I'd reckon.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can sack me this early stage. But
one from one, though. It's a pretty good record.
Yeah,
still better than Mark Neal.
I'm sure there's other blokes who can coach who would be able to coach the side just next year. Who've got more experience than I have. It was enjoyable and fun for me, and got to know the players from those clubs that represented us, and it was enjoyable. To do it next year, we'll just see how things pan out.
Did you find it tough walking down the street with, not having X amount of this player in, this better, that? Did you have anybody that came out and pointed fingers, or my son should have been in the side, or anything like that, Tim?
It was, I think there's probably a couple of players who I didn't put in who perhaps, earned a spot. But, those guys didn't come up and say, look, what are you doing? I should have been in. They've just, got on with things. Yeah. There's probably a couple who said to Murray, what about me?
Yeah.
Because they knew him better. But I think, of course you're going to knock about everybody. And you miss a couple that, in hindsight, put him in. So there's things like that happen. To be honest, it's 3 weeks in, you've got to pick a squad. So, we were lucky in the sense we could drag Bluey Angus in because we lost a couple of ruckmen, and he was really good. He
took that Leo Barry mark right at the end, right in that defensive effort, took it back. It was fantastic. We got the image and we've put it on our Facebook page. Apparently it's got even to the Weekly Times as well. They've even asked for it, and the Warrnambool Standard wanted it as well. So it was a pretty proud moment. Who was a couple of the players that really, I guess, you were really amazed with? I know you probably do, as you said, you pick your team in your head, but what was a few players that you thought, gee, actually, they actually went a lot better than I, instantly thought they would?
Yeah, the one probably for mine that stands out is probably Luke Wheel from Simpson.
Yep.
I said to him early on, I didn't have him in the team, in my 22, but he was fine. I said, just keep coming to training and we'll take you down as an emergency.
Yep.
And by the Tuesday night, actually, he was in the side. I said, you're in the side, on the bench. And then when he came on, because he had to come on early, I let him stay on because he was just so handy with what he did. He was good, I thought.
He's very highly rated at Simpson. They always praise Luke, and I think a lot of people on Saturday realised why.
Yeah, you can understand it now. Yeah. He's a solid man, and he keeps his eye on the ball, and he's got good skills. So, he was not necessarily surprised, but I hadn't thought that he perhaps was that good. So he was good, yeah.
Was Jake Reid in the original 22 you had in your head?
Say that who?
Jake Reid from the Eagles, who kicked 5 on Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. He was very good, wasn't he? Like I know the 5 goals weren't, it's always good to kick 5 out of 9, but some of the stuff he was doing off the ball, and he set you guys up a fair bit too outside the 50. He was just instrumental. No wonder he got best on ground.
Yeah, he was good. The first 3 games he kicked 5, 5 and a 4. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, and so I thought, well, he's got to go in. And then Big Norton from Lorne was kicking bags as well, and the other one was probably Louis Homer was kicking goals as well. And so the big Whopper.
Whopper. He was good.
Simpson, he wasn't kicking many goals, but he was in the mix. But then when the other 2 fell away, and Jake was still there, and Whopper was, forced into the team almost.
Yeah.
And he kicked a 3s and a 4, and he'd been missing a few. as well. But he's a good kid. He's only 20, and Jake's only 22. So I assumed Reed would kick his, normal 4 or 5. I was hoping he would anyway. Especially given Big Harding was missing him.
Well, he was pretty good. We thought he was fine in the third quarter. He just couldn't kick the ball right. But he was leading and taking the marks and all that, doing everything that he normally does. But he just couldn't kick one.
Yeah, I think he's probably a little bit nervous. You got to remember they're only young. He's only young, and then it's a bigger game than they've had before. So they perhaps were a bit anxious or a bit nervous about things. And he certainly conked them all right and marked them all right. It's just. And he has got a big kick on him. It's just he wasn't kicking them straight.
What about Stephen Salgin, mate? Because we gave him best on ground today on Saturday just for the job that he did. He's just we all know that he's the best fullback in the CDFL, but he stamped his authority majorly on Saturday, didn't he?
Oh, he stood out, didn't he? He was he's one of those players from fullback that you like to watch because he attacks the ball. And he's always round about his opponent, and he gave that fella down not much at all.
Yeah.
And did actually attack from back there. So, in my mind, he was, you could play him anywhere perhaps, and he'd do. But it's hard to get a good fullback just like that.
Well, he went to full forward, won grand final in the last quarter, and almost won Berrigo of the flag. So he can do it at both ends. So it was amazing. Were you surprised that Chris Bant got in the best players for Warrnambool?
Yeah, I saw that, and I heard that. I was.
Yeah, it was very surprising for all of us, mate. What was the celebrations like afterwards? Was it a big, were you a bit annoyed that it wasn't a ticker tape parade when he got back into Colac, or was it just a nice key, quiet frothy or two?
Look, we didn't get back till late because we were on the bus, and I think the boys were stuck together after the game, and then we had tea up there, and then come home on the bus, and somebody was trying to take it to Simpson.
That'd be Whopper. That'd probably be Whopper.
Trying to take it somewhere.
Simpson Park would have been handy. Yeah.
It was an enjoyable trip, and by the time we got home, it was pretty late, but. As far as that goes, that's a celebration, and then you're basically going to move on after that. But the boys enjoyed that side of things, and I think that's what makes them. If their teammates from this week talk about how'd you go and what was it like, hopefully they'll say, look, it was great. It was a good game, and then we had a bus trip, and that's always a handy thing to have.
Now you got the CDFL have to play Pecola District Football Netball League in the northwest. There's a fella at the moment currently on 92 goals from 7 games in that league, Tim. So you want, if you are coaching next year and he is playing, you'd want Stephen Salgin right on his best game. I think he kicked 25 a couple of weeks ago, but he's averaging 13 goals a game. So fingers crossed we can get that game in Colac next year. That'd be fantastic at the refurbished Central Reserve. But mate, once again, congratulations on Saturday, and hopefully we see you around next year, mate. But if not, once again, congratulations, Tim, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Max. I appreciate it if you send me the